As this unfolds, the third person in line to the presidency has announced he will be leaving office in January.
I think we have achieved a heck of a lot. You all know that I did not seek this job. I took it reluctantly, but I have given this job everything that I have. And I have no regrets whatsoever for having accepted this responsibility. This has been one of the two greatest honors of my life. The job provides incredible opportunities. But the truth is, it's easy for it to take over everything in your life. And you can't just let that happen. Because there are other things in life that can be fleeting as well. Namely, your time as a husband and a dad, which is the other great honor of my life. That's why today I am announcing that this year will be my last one as a member of the House. To be clear, I am not resigning. I intend to full my served term as I was elected to do. But I will be retiring in January, leaving this majority in good hands with what I believe is a very bright future.
Speaker Paul Ryan said passing tax reform legislation was one of his greatest achievements, and also assured members of his party that despite his departure, he would still help fellow Republicans running in the 2018 midterms. Zeke Miller, White House reporter for the Associated Press and CBSN political contributor, joins us now from Washington. Zeke, what do you make of the timing of Ryan's announcement? Does this effectively make him a lame duck for the next 9 months?
Well, Congress isn't going to be doing a whole lot anyway. Obviously, the timing there is dictated because something like this can't be a secret in Washington for very long. There's the question of his succession, both of his congressional seat in Wisconsin and also for the House Republican Conference, where they have to figure out who's going to replace him as leader or speaker, depending on whether or not Republicans hold on to the House. But in terms of legislating in Washington, this does, there's not a whole lot of juice that Paul Ryan has. Lawmakers are very, at this point, hit that stage in a Congress where they are selfishly focused on their own reelection, and there's not, in terms of the legislating capacity, now that the omnibus was passed late last month, there isn't a whole lot left on their plate to actually do of any substance. Nothing that won't require sort of strict party line votes that they'll need sort of a strong arm from the speaker for. So that now is sort of in a way the obvious time for him to make an announcement just like this.
Right, but looking ahead, we heard Speaker Ryan try to assure members within his own party that things will be fine. But how does this move impact Republicans' chances in the midterms?
Well, certainly it's not boosting confidence for Republicans. They are facing headwinds. Is sort of the easy way of putting it, if not a very, very challenging year for them, where they potentially a landslide for Democrats come November. Some of that depends on Speaker Ryan. He's been a very strong fundraiser for his party, maybe perhaps one of the strongest Republican leaders certainly in recent memory, and that's been a big help to Republicans, the rank and file. The other factor there is the president. He has not been so helpful on that front, whether it be sort of dominating the headlines with not focusing on selling the tax reform bill, things like that. So rank and file Republicans are certainly not taking this news. They're not surprised by the news, but they're also not particularly thrilled by it either, because they would rather Speaker Ryan being with them on their side and fundraising for them, helping them, campaigning with them, trying to influence the president to stay on message. And they're a little worried now that he's stepping out.
And in terms of who might be next in his role, we know that House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy and House Majority Whip Steve Scalise are reportedly going to vie for the role. Does either have a clear advantage?
Well, not necessarily. Obviously, McCarthy has tried to make that move once before, but now seems to have a much better grasp on the House Republican Conference. Scalise is also similarly as well liked, has a lot of supporters. It'd be interesting to see if they both actually go for it, or they try to cut some deal internally between the two of them. They have worked so closely together on the House Republican leadership team for so long, but at the end of it, will the spirit of cooperation reign, or will personal ambition take over? That's the sort of thing that we'll be watching playing out over the next couple of weeks, certainly.
All right, switching gears a bit now, President Trump is vowing to strike Syria. As a candidate, though, he criticized officials for telegraphing military moves. But isn't that what he did today with his tweet?
That's exactly what the president did, and shocking another way. He didn't quite give us the date and time, location of the strike, but he sort of made it pretty clear about on Monday the president said he'd make a decision within the 48 hours. That clock expired earlier this morning. It's very clear now the president wants to take some sort of military action, and that is telegraphing doing exactly what the president said he did not want to do as a candidate. What exactly the nature of that potential strike does look like, who else is involved, those are the variables on the table. We're told the decision has been made to do something, just how large to scale up, and also in concert with which partners. That's sort of the nature of the discussion right now. And the specific timing we're looking at, it could be anything from today to sometime this weekend. The president obviously canceling his trip overseas to stay and monitor the situation. So sometime in the next couple of days, we can probably see some sort of action taking place.
And Zeke, take the temperature in the air for us, if you will. How have the developments in the last week impacted the president's previous goal of trying to have a better rapport with Russian President Vladimir Putin?
Certainly, that is not that's not the case right now. There is not some chummy buddy relationship between the president of the United States and the president of Russia. The United States appears to be on the brink of bombing one of Putin's closest allies in the Middle East. There have been new rounds of sanctions over election hacking just last week. All of that is sort of is building the sort of tensions that the president and Vladimir Putin have said they want to take the temperature down on. But in cases like this, in instances like this, for all the president's good intentions here, he doesn't really have that much of a choice either. Something like a chemical weapons attack can't go ignored, and that's exactly what's happening here, where the president's going to take this action because and that's sort of what we're seeing in the tweets from the president. He's sort of saying to Vladimir Putin, essentially, you're forcing me to do this. If you change course, change direction, change your behavior, then maybe we can have a better relationship. But right now, tensions seem to be certainly more heated than they were just a few weeks ago.
And Zeke, changing gears again, on Tuesday, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said President Trump believes he has the authority to fire Special Counsel Robert Mueller. What has been the response from both sides of the aisle to that assertion?
Well, the first thing you'll hear is from some Justice Department lawyers and outside experts who say Justice Department regulations say that only Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General, who oversees the Mueller probe, has the authority to fire Mueller, and only for cause. That's the first thing you'll hear. The White House contends that that is not operative, that doesn't apply to the president. They are still sorting through some of that legal rationale, and they're working on that internally if that's the direction the president wants to go. On Capitol Hill, Democrats and Republicans are both telling the president resoundingly, don't do this. You may not like the guy, you may not like what he is doing, but you opened a can of worms if you were to fire the special counsel. You don't know where that's going to end up, and certainly doesn't end up anywhere good. It could end with it could potentially, you're here on the Democratic side, words like impeachment thrown around among Republicans. Just you're creating more legal liability for you. Will lawmakers in Capitol Hill, there's legislation moving today, potentially trying to protect the special counsel. Will that pass? Can that pass in a Republican-controlled Washington in an election year? That remains to be seen, but that is certainly the nature of the discussion right now. Nobody wants the president to fire Robert Mueller, and lawmakers are looking at ways of protecting him.
Yeah, you've got Republicans and Democrats joining in that chorus. All right, Zeke Miller, thank you.
Thank you.